5 days away from the exhibition game. Really excited about the start of the season. I know our players are really looking forward to it. Would love to take this opportunity to invite everyone to come out on Monday night at 7 o'clock. The exhibition game is free. Bring the whole family. Obviously, the day before Halloween, we'll have candy for the kids. Once the game ends, our players won't go to the locker room. They're going to stay out on the floor and sign autographs and take pictures with the kids. So it should be a fun night. And then, of course, a week from Monday, the home opener to tip off the season. So it's here. I've really enjoyed coaching our team to this point and excited to get started next week.
Every year is different. What feels different for you this year with this team?
For me,
yeah.
personally? I think, personally, it's just the first move for me with my family, going to a new place, getting to meet so many great people here, embracing the passion of the fan base. It's just an awesome place. So I think just there's some comfort, the way everything happened so quickly, and now to be here with a year under our belt has been great for me and my family. From a basketball standpoint, I think just having an older group of experienced players. I believe it's somewhere 7 or 8 of our guys are in their 4th or 5th year playing college basketball. We tried to be very intentional in doing that. I think we obviously hope that leads to some outstanding player leadership from some guys who have proven themselves at a high level. They're multiple all-conference players, multiple 1,000-plus point scorers, and now we need to take this collection of talented people and build them into a team.
Coach, kind of loaded a little bit non-conference schedule for you guys this year. How beneficial is it to kind of have those big games early in the season?
Well, I think it's important. You're trying to play the computer game a little bit in regards to the net. In the league, you're going to have 18, great opportunities against really good teams. So you want to have a good balance in the non-conference of quad one opportunities, but also great competition to help prepare you for the brutal slate ahead in January, February, and early March. So I think when you look at the schedule and you see Kansas State at home coming off their Elite Eight, I believe it's the first Power 5 non-conference game here in the PMAC in November or December in a long time. The event at the Houston Rockets Arena where we'll play Texas. Excited to go to the Carrier Dome, play Syracuse, one of the historic venues in college basketball. I've never been there. And then the field of the ESPN Classic in Charleston is terrific, starting off with Dayton there in the first round. So we'll certainly be challenged, but it's also great opportunities from a computer ranking standpoint to get some great non-conference wins in November and December.
Just maybe an update on the Jaylen Cook situation or anything?
Yeah, Glenn, it's a great question, and I wish I had details and an answer for you, but there's no change there. We're still waiting, like a majority of the two-time transfers across the country, waiting some finality there.
And then, 2 weeks now to the season, obviously you have to prepare for every kind of situation. Just what does it look like, I guess, with Jaylen and then maybe without Jaylen, your early impressions of what the roster looks like?
Yeah, I think it involves two different styles of play in some ways, especially on the offensive end of the floor, where Jaylen at the point guard position is a heavy ball screen usage player who's been really effective there, scoring the ball and also from an assist standpoint over his career, whereas some of our other guards flourish more in dribble handoff situations or stagger screens and things of that nature. So that has caused us to need to keep a balance of doing both, depending on how that situation plays out.
Hi, Coach. After everything that's happened with this program and you're in your second year, how do you come out of all the talk and all the noise and you just show that LSU men's basketball is up to par at an already premier sports school?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. Probably a long answer there that involves reality and perspective. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. It's an incredible honor to be here coaching at LSU. I understood the challenge that was ahead when we got here. I love the group of people we've been able to put together to build our program moving forward. So, the reality, there are a lot of them there. Number one, it didn't win at the level that I expect to win at, nor at the level our fans deserve a year ago. Probably the second reality is Coach Wade did a good job here at LSU. They won a lot of games during his time. Reality three, when I got here in April, all of that was gone. No players, no foundation, no culture, no nothing. So it was essentially a little bit of a dumpster fire, and we have to go about a methodical process of rebuilding it. And I think, we were able to do that when you look at, by the analytics, signed a top 10 portal class in the spring with the 6 guys that we were able to add there. Obviously, there's an asterisk there based on what happens with Jaylen Cook for the upcoming season. We'll end up signing a top 15 recruiting class in 2024. The other reality is, there was an NCAA investigation hanging over the program that was a black cloud and made it very challenging to start a program over from scratch. That's now complete, and that's over. And so the perspective is, I love the direction we're going. We're going to recruit at a high level. We're going to build an army of people that are going to support LSU basketball as we rebuild the program moving forward.
Hey, Coach. With the Jaylen Cook situation, are you looking at all or paying attention at all to what happens with some of these other players who have two-time?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the first part. I'm sorry.
Yeah. With the Jaylen Cook situation, do you pay attention to what happens to some of these other guys who are going through similar situations around the country and trying to compare and contrast it all, or are you just concentrating on Jaylen?
It's a really fair question, but there's really no way to compare them because the way these two-time waivers work, it's very confidential. They're very personal cases, and everyone's is different, and there's not any transparency to that. So I have no idea. I know there are a couple who have received a waiver. There are a couple who have already been turned down, but I don't know the merits or the background behind their cases.
Hey, Coach, what's the benefit of bringing in 3 guys, Jaylen, Jordan, and Carlos, who are from the area, play with one another, understand the impact this university has on this city? How much of a boost is that to this team?
Well, I think it's really important. I think we've talked about it before. I watched how Coach Kelly rebuilt their roster, Coach Mulkey, Coach Johnson through the use of the portal. And football especially brought some Louisiana guys back home. I think it's one of the many reasons I wanted to be here. This is a very unique place. There's unbelievable pride and passion in LSU. And I think young players grow up here wanting to play at LSU and wanting to represent their home state. So to have those 3 guys, Jordan Wright, Carlos Stewart, Jaylen Cook, also to have Hunter Dean come back for his final season, and then to add Corey Chest, who was the number 1 player in the state of Louisiana, to our roster, I think is really important because I think if you look historically, there's been a lot of ownership and pride that players take from the state of Louisiana and representing the LSU brand. And all of those guys have done a terrific job of that to this point.
I got a couple for you. You mentioned it. Did you pick Kim's brain at all about melding a bunch of pieces together into one? And then what did you prioritize? I'm guessing you might have had a little bit more selectivity, as opposed to when you first got here and just needing to build a roster. What did you prioritize as far as who you went after in the portal and how you built this year's team?
Yeah, I think the second part, Michael, was a year ago in April, it was we got to fill a roster so we can field a team this year. I think this year we were able to be very intentional and selective in how we approached the portal. So we wanted to identify players with proven track records of success coming from the top 9 leagues in the country Also guys that came from winning programs. I believe 5 of the 6 won 21 or more games on their teams last year. We also wanted to address, getting the best players in Louisiana to come back and play at home through the portal, and I think we were able to do that. So just trying to be very intentional. And then from a style of play standpoint, identifying size and athleticism for the front court for this league. I think it's the second most athletic league in the world behind the NBA. Then I think versatility. It's a very dominant switching defensive league, so having some versatile pieces that can guard multiple positions, also attack multiple positions offensively was important for us. And then I could continue on forever, but probably the last piece of that was looking for leadership. And I think you look at a guy like Jordan Wright, who's been the SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year, has a degree from Vanderbilt, incredibly intelligent and smart, and wants to lead and is equipped to lead at a high level. Will Baker, a guy in his 5th year playing college basketball, former top 20 player in the country, I think has a lot of leadership qualities as well. As for studying the other programs here and all the success they've had, it's nothing but a huge advantage for us in recruiting. This is the greatest brand in all of sports. The name recognition of athletes in all sports across the country is insane. And our recruits pay attention, and they see it. Every one of them knows who Angel Reese is. They know who Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens are. They know who Jaden Daniels is. They know who Sha'Carri Richardson is, and I can go on and on. And so you use that and try to learn from the other sports. You see how Coach Mulkey was able to take so many players out of the portal and blend it into a team, and you try and learn as much as you can from that.
Just with this first scrimmage and really the first couple of games of the season, you guys are obviously bringing in a whole new collection of players. What is it that you, I guess, want to see as the head coach from your guys, at least to the start of the season, just on the court? Is there anything that you are really looking for in terms of just knowing that these guys are in sync and doing the things that you're asking of them?
I'm real simple there, Glenn. I want us to play with relentless effort, bring great energy. And I think especially when you're trying to blend a lot of guys who maybe have been the leading scorer or second leading scorer on their team, you have to play with great unselfishness. So I think that has to be the foundation. Those things enable you to build chemistry. And then once you have that foundation in place, then you can really get to the strategy and the schemes and what's going to be best for us from an offensive and defensive standpoint to give us opportunity to win games.
Hey, Coach. Going into Monday's exhibition, is everybody healthy? Is it 100% just injury report going into it?
Yeah, Matthew, it's been a unique off-season from the standpoint I think we've been blessed that we haven't had any significant injuries. But I think we've had all 15 players at practice twice since June 7th. So you've had some guys missing here and there. But the good news for us, I think we're trending toward being at 100%. Going into the season. Derek Fountain is out right now. He has with a stomach issue. Hope to have him back this weekend. Everyone else has been full go this week. Jalen Reed has really taken some huge step forwards over the last 2 weeks, coming off a sprained knee that he had this summer and missed a lot of time. He had a great offseason physically. He's 6'10", 240 pounds. His finishing at the basket has gone to another level. His decision-making and creativity for others has been really good these last 2 weeks. So been excited to see that from him. But to answer your question, I expect to be 100% by Monday, barring anything unforeseen with Derek.
Yeah, and then you talked about Mwani before, but just how have you seen him take the steps forward, obviously coming back from the injury, to be that kind of 3-and-D player for y'all going into it?
Yeah, that's what we need him to be. To steal your term there, 3-and-D. He missed a lot of time. And I've told you before, I really admired his toughness and his competitiveness. He tried to play through a brutal shoulder injury. and it got to a point where he couldn't do it anymore. So he had the surgery. He got fully cleared around the 1st of July. I thought he did some really good things on our trip to the Bahamas. I think he's been really consistent in his effort and his leadership and practice, and that's been good for our team. He is a guy who's won games at LSU before, and so we expect big things from him. He's a guy who can shoot the ball exceptionally well from behind the three-point line, and because of his athleticism, can be a terrific perimeter defender for us.
Just rapid fire here. Is Jaylen working with you all? Is he able to work out?
Oh,
with
yeah,
you?
every day.
Okay.
Every day.
What has Tam been able to do for you, and is that like a new position that you kind of created, and how has it worked for you guys?
Yeah, Tam Davis has been terrific. It's a position we've had. It's basically the coordinator of the basketball program in the office from an administrative standpoint. Her experience here at LSU, she's worked for some pretty good football coaches that you probably heard of through the years. Just has intricate knowledge of LSU, of Baton Rouge, of recruiting and recruiting at a high level, of the academic piece. So she's been very impactful in our program, and excited to have her back at LSU.
She was doing more NIL stuff or not? And then finally, just what are the early returns? I know you've got some work in over the weekend. What are you seeing in this team that you think you can win with, and where do you need to improve?
Yeah, I think probably every coach will tell you the same. As far as improving, it's just consistency. But I really like the size that we have in the front, not only in the front court, but also at the wing position. You look up front, and you have 7-foot Will Baker. At 6'10", you have Hunter Dean, Jalen Reed, and Derek Fountain. At 6'9", you have Damian Collins, 6'8", Corey Chest. Then when you go to the perimeter, Tyrell Ward, 6'7", Jordan Wright, 6'6", 220, and Mwani, 6'5", 215. So there's size at most positions. And so I think that's been a strength of ours and needs to be a strength, the ability to defend and rebound. I think, shooting the ball consistently from behind the three-point line is something that's so important in today's game. We've had practices where we've shot it at 50%. We've had days where it's at 30%, and would like for that to be more consistent in the 40% range. But the game has evolved to where nearly half the shots in a game are behind the three-point arc. So you have to be able to shoot it. You better be able to defend it at a high level. And so, but I'm pleased with where we're at. Want to obviously keep getting better. I'm sure the guys are tired of playing against each other every single day and are ready to get these games started next week.